This is SmallBizDavid, and we're going to try to do something that we've uh, haven't done before the way that we're going to do it today. Uh, while I am doing this YouTube, I am broadcasting, I'm doing live streaming at stickham.com. So we're going to do both things and see where that takes us. So uh, please don't think that I'm being rude if you're seeing the side or the back of my head more than you're seeing my face, because I'll be talking to a live audience in this direction. Here we go. Okay. Good morning to all of our friends at stickham.com who are now live on youtube.com/ smallbizdavid. Today, I wanted to talk about 7 things that make entrepreneurs tick. Things for you to think about as you uh, start to really look inside of yourself and figure out that starting a business is really what you want to do. And 2013 is going to be the year that you, in fact, start your business. we I had meant to share with you, and I'll have to find it because I forgot about it. That there was an article. There's actually a National Public Radio uh, broadcast last week, not this last week, but the week before, and they were talking about how many students are coming out of college, and instead of looking for a job, not a great time to be looking for a job. It it's a time when many students coming out of college, or age 22, 23, whatever, are starting businesses. And I'm actually looking at a picture right now of an individual who dropped out of Harvard University his sophomore year when he was 20 years old and started a company called Facebook. So 7 things that make great entrepreneurs tick. This was an article, a blog in Inc. magazine. Actually, it was on Inc.com, inc.com. I read Inc. magazine every month, and I get emails from Inc.com on a pretty regular basis. But 7 things that make entrepreneurs tick. All the greats: Mayer, Page, Zuckerberg. Not quite sure which mayor they're talking about, uh, or Meyer. Page, of course, is Larry Page from Google, and Zuckerberg is, of course, Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook. Have these things in common, and this list is what makes them better than all the rest. Silicon Valley has gazillions of successful entrepreneurs and brilliant innovators. And you can't walk down the street in Palo Alto or Mount View without bumping into 2 or 3 top executives who started out in a little garage shop or started out in their home, research lab, or college dorm room. How many businesses, great businesses, were started in college dorm rooms? Now that I mention that, probably Microsoft was started in a college dorm room at Harvard, uh, and Bill Gates also dropped out of college as a sophomore to start Microsoft. What is it about Harvard and dropping out when you're a sophomore and leaving and building huge, great companies that leave their impact, create an impact, and will leave a footprint uh, in our lives that will last forever. Funny thing is, they all seem to have unique outward qualities. We're talking about entrepreneurs now. Some more eccentric than others. Oh, the Meyer they were talking about is Marissa. Interesting that they used her name first. Marissa Meyer is the relatively new CEO of Yahoo. She hasn't been there maybe 8 months. Maybe she's been there 8 months. She actually got her training at a company called Google. And she is doing wonderful, wonderful things at Yahoo today. And really, that was a company in deep trouble. But Marissa is doing great things there and impressing her bosses, shareholders of the company, as the shares in Yahoo are inching upwards in value. Interesting too that maybe a month after Marissa started at Yahoo, she gave birth to a child and only left the company for 2 weeks, and then was back doing her thing at Yahoo. So the author, and did I mention the author's name of this blog, is Steve Toback. I don't think I mentioned it. Steve Toback, Inc.com. He says, and I quote, Marissa Meyer is a high fashion workaholic. Mark Zuckerberg is obsessed with the product. Larry Page is a geeky introvert. Larry Ellison is an adrenaline freak that races yachts, flies planes, and buys entire islands. Larry Ellison is the CEO of Oracle, and actually closer in age to me than any of those other individuals we just named. All that may be true, but it's a big mistake to think that defines them. You see, everyone gets so caught up in the public persona and the hype that's easy to forget just how much these folks have going on under the hood. I've worked with loads of them, and one thing I can say for sure, they will surprise you. One minute you're getting grilled about your crazy idea, and the next minute the guy's not only on board but asking you, can't you get it done sooner? It can only freak you out if you're not used to it. Not only that, but it's dangerous to take everything they say and do verbatim. Okay, a good opening couple paragraphs and thoughts about what is different from what I would call a hardcore entrepreneur. I've been thinking, I've been an entrepreneur my entire life, certainly not of the magnitude of the individuals that I just mentioned, but very content and happy with the things that I've been able to do in my life. Okay, so what are the common characteristics? What makes these folks tick? What makes them the way they are? And here's 7 things. They all have a process. It's the strangest thing, but every single one of them seems to have their own process for thinking things through, making decisions, whatever. How many times have we talked about the process and how important a process is in your small business? And even yesterday, we added the dimension of not only is it important to have a process by which you work, it's also extremely important that your business has a system. You are constantly building a system with your business that if you, the entrepreneur, the owner of that system, steps away, that system continues to operate. And that is very key when you are starting a business, creating a process. And that process belongs to you. You're the owner of it. And everybody's process is going to be different. Just like everybody's system is going to be different, but the system is more reflective of the business itself. Okay, so all these entrepreneurs have a process. They trust their gut. Number two, it seems they've spent their entire lives being self-absorbed or self-sufficient. As a result, they're extremely self-confident when it comes to trusting their own instincts and following whatever it is that inspires them. We share this thought with you often. And again, it was something we were talking about yesterday or the day before, that part of what determines the success of an entrepreneur is, yes, their gut, but also keeping their mind open to opportunities that happen. They happen in a moment, and you have to seize that moment to take full advantage of that opportunity. That's what being in business is all about, is for the owner to create options for themselves, to find opportunities, to recognize an opportunity, and keeping your mind open enough. And as the author of this blog says, have the instinct, the gut instinct, that what you are doing and the decision that you make is the right decision. Okay, number four, they all have a passion for what they do. I'm not going to read this. You've heard me talk about passion. I have 3 P's of my own that I share, that I think make for a successful entrepreneur. Passion is absolutely number one. You always have to show, demonstrate, and make people feel that passion that you feel in what it is that you're doing. Number 2 is persistence. You have to be persistent in your passion. Persistent because you know it is the right thing to do, and that's why you keep on doing it. So passion, persistent, and the third P that I share is one that is probably the toughest one, the most challenging one for an entrepreneur who has started a business, and that is patience. Patience. We can be passionate all the time. We can show our persistence all the time. Patience is something that is extremely important. And why is that? Patience is important because when we are asking people to do business with us, to buy our idea, to create a profile in Facebook, to use Yahoo as a search engine, or however you use Yahoo, we are asking people basically to change their behavior. If they haven't done business with you before, or they haven't bought what it is you have to sell before, and you're asking them to do it now, you're asking them to change their behavior. People do not change behavior overnight. You need to educate them. You need to show them value in what it is that you're doing, that if they buy what it is that you're doing, it will bring value to their lives. And particularly in the business to business world, where you are a business and your customers are other businesses. That's the B2B world versus the B2C world, business to consumer world, where that's basically what Facebook is. They were first attractive to people, the individual, and now to monetize what it is that they do, they have to show themselves and demonstrate that they can bring value to your business if you buy an ad in Facebook. If you, wow, what did they just announce this week? You can buy a ping or you can buy an instant message. I it's it's amazing uh, uh, all the things that are going on at Facebook. Okay, so you have to have a passion for what you do. Number four, an entrepreneur is usually quick on the uptake. They can assimilate data, come to grips with a situation, or grasp something that took you 2 hours to understand in what seems like a heartbeat to them. It goes without saying that they're uh, unusually smart, the Menses of the world, if you will. Yes. Are they smarter than you are? Uh, they are smarter than you are in a different way, not necessarily big picture smarter than you are. But going back to what we've mentioned already, they know how to look at a situation, to understand an opportunity, and to make a gut decision that it is the right thing to do, and they move forward. That's what makes them smart. Okay, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're born problem solvers. Whether or not they're born a problem solver, you absolutely have to be not only a problem solver, uh, that's an extremely important part to being in business, but also uh, closely related to being a problem solver is your ability to accept a challenge, accept it head on, create a strategy that that deals with that challenge, and then solve the problem, get it, make something happen. Okay, number 6 is they've got something to prove. It's not usually clear to you or to them who they need to prove it to, but I really don't think the proving part of it matters, who you have to prove it to. They all just seem to have this relentless need to achieve, to make things happen, to do great things. It drives them and it motivates them. I don't need to say anything else about that. He has said it very well. And finally, and here's where entrepreneurs could differ from one another. They work their tails off is number 7. Their work is, to a great extent, their life. That's sort of an obvious result when you consider how passionate they are about what they do and how driven they are to accomplish great things. And you won't always see them working either, day or night, at work or at home. Uh, they usually have a hard time turning it off. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We carry our businesses with us wherever we go. No question about that. The challenge, if you will, comes when you start a business in your home and you really do need the support of everyone else living in that home if you're going to be successful in your business. They have to understand what it is that you're trying to do, and they have to understand that you need your own environment, if you will, to make those things happen. But, and this is where people are not successful, it comes in the ability to communicate, to make it very clear what it is you're doing, why you are doing it, and how the other individuals around you can support you. It's a matter of communication, as in everything in life. I've always said that 99.9% of the problems there are in this world or in our lives, certainly you can take a look at the communication or the lack of communication as why inherently there is that problem. Okay, 7 characteristics of entrepreneurs, and I'll just say the first lines very quickly again in summary. Uh, Entrepreneurs all have a process. They trust their gut. They have a passion for what they do. They're usually quick on the uptake. They're born problem solvers. They've got something to prove, and they work their tails off. Oh, and one more thing the author says. If you end up working with some of these folks, the worst thing you can do is be in awe of them. They don't generally like yes men or women and are quite impatient with folks who don't add value. They have you around for a reason. Do what you do best and be straight with them. Communicate with them. That's generally the way to go. Okay, we'll end this YouTube now, and we'll get back to